This is level 2 on the keyboard from a Fresh Approach Daily Drill. We'll get through all of these exercises basically using the exact same technique that we used in level 1, which is your piston stroke. So if you've been working through level 1 for a week or so, you're probably pretty familiar with that piston stroke. If not, really spend a little bit of time making sure that you're getting that great motion with the right amount of velocity, right amount of force, right amount of hitting above the key, so you're making the best sound possible. All right, if we look at line number 1, we're going to be in the first 4 lines here just on F and C, just to reinforce where our home keys are. Remember, F is below the group of 3 accidentals, C is below the group of 2 accidentals. So you can take your accidentals at the bottom of each set of accidentals and move down a half step. That is your F and C notes. Now, these 4 lines at the beginning are really stick control exercises. Basically, we're playing different sticking patterns, which is pretty simple. On the keyboard, you almost don't need to read the sticking. If you keep your right hand on F and your left hand on C, it'll be pretty obvious. All right, but we want to make sure that we are playing with a great piston stroke. We want to make sure the mallet is going straight up and down on each stroke, whether it's the right hand or the left hand. We want to make sure that we're hitting right in the center of the bar. We want to make sure that our right hand is the same height, same velocity, same sound as our left hand. So all of those things you should be paying attention to. So look at line number 1. All we have is our diddle para. Remember, diddle is 2 and para is single single. So diddle para, and then opposite hand diddle para. So it sounds like this. All right, not very hard if you just play the sticking and then you keep your mallets on the F and the C. But what I want you to do is, as you're playing it, look away from the keyboard if you can, all right? Start off by just looking a little bit further right at your music stand. If you have your music right in front of you, look there, see if you can kind of use your peripheral vision to sense where those keys are. Eventually, if you get bold enough and you want to test yourself, look away, look all the way up, and see if you can start developing that kinesthetic sense of where those keys are in relation to your body, your hands, your arms, and the mallets. All right, line number 2, notice that the diddle shifts to the middle. So right, diddle, right, left, diddle, left, right, diddle. So the single strokes always alternate, and the diddle is in the middle. So that will look and sound like this. When you get used to it, look away. And then always keep that sticking consistent. All right, if we look at line number 3, notice it is our paradiddle. 2 singles with a diddle. Okay, notice I'm not tapping my foot. I've got my feet spread out, a lot further than probably what you would have on the snare drum, because eventually we're going to be leaning in one direction or the other. We don't want to stand with our feet next to each other because our leaning would be from the waist up. We want to make sure that we're able to lean our entire body, shifting our entire body, putting our weight on our left foot and our right foot. And then line number 4, we're using our right, left, right, diddle, right, left, diddle. So the diddle is on the outside edges, all right? So you can just read the notes, F and C, or you can read the stickings and keep your right hand on F, left hand on C. 1, 2, ready, go. So just getting used to, when you get to the end of the line, right, right, All right, you kind of have to read ahead a little bit just to make sure that you're doing the diddles in the proper place. On keyboard, you're going to know right away whether you're playing the right sticking, because everybody will be playing the F and the C in a place, and then you'll flip if you play the wrong sticking. So really pay attention. Make sure that you're subdividing your quarter notes so that you're not rushing and you're thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or play along with the play along track, because it has that groove to it that you can listen to and make sure that you're fitting within the groove. All right, line number 6 uses our alternating strokes, but now we're doing 2 strokes per note, starting on C, and we're going C, D, E, F, G, and then straight back down. All right, this is what we call our 5-note scale. So 5 notes of any major scale is going to be starting on a single note. We call that note the tonic, and we're going to go up a whole step, a whole step, a half step, and a whole step. So that's our 5 notes. All right, C, D, E, F, G. This is easy because on keyboard you have no accidentals, but we're eventually learning our major scale. All right, right now, just the C 5-note scale is what's important, that you just memorize it if you want to. All right, 2 notes per, or 2 strokes per note on the keyboard. See me leaning a little bit? Because I really would like to keep my mallets in the center of my body. All right, it's not always going to be possible because keyboard's very large and we're going to have to do a lot of shifting. But for right now, when you have those 3 notes, you want to try to keep your mallets right in the center of your body so that I'm striking in the center of the bar. Line number 6 is the same 5-note scale, but now 1 stroke per note. All right, we're gradually building up to where we're playing that C major scale, but now it's the same 5 notes, C to G and back down to C, but 1 stroke per note. All right, did you see me leaning back and forth? You can play this without having to lean. All right, you can play it like this, but we definitely want to develop that motion that we feel like we're just moving as we're moving up and down the keyboard. All right, line number 7 uses our G 5-note scale. All right, it has the same whole and half step pattern, 2 wholes, a half, and a whole. So we think if we start on G, up a whole step, A, up another whole step, B, up a half step, C, up a whole step, D. All right, very simple on the keyboard for this 5-note scale on G because it has no accidentals. G, A, B, C, D, and then back down. So line number 7 basically is 2 strokes per note on the G 5-note scale. See if you can look away. You can glance down occasionally, but spend some time just looking away from the keyboard and trust yourself as you're moving back and forth between the notes. Trust yourself. If you miss a note, it's okay. It really is about developing that kinesthetic sense of your body position as you're moving back and forth, your mallets, and your arm-hand position to the keys. All right. And then line number 8 is the same 5-note scale, the G 5-note scale, but we're going single strokes per note. Leaning just a little bit as I'm moving here. Now eventually, in line number 9, we're playing the entire C major scale. So the C major scale, we're going to position ourselves between the C's. So I like to think of it as between the F and the G. That's where the center of my body is. And then as we start the scale, leaning this way, playing the scale, leaning this way, and then back. So as you're playing this, the C becomes the half note at the end of the line. So remember that half notes get 2 counts, so we need to make sure that before we repeat it, that we wait for count 4. All right, as we're moving to line number 10, this is the typical rhythm pattern that we play on scales. You can play it straight back and forth as we did in line number 9. Line number 10 is what a lot of states use, a lot of programs use to play their major scales. Start with a half note, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, half note, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just getting used to playing that rhythm pattern. Now I'm going to start on my left hand, and then as I move up, when I get to the top, I will be on my right hand, and then I move back down. So I'm alternating all the way through, starting on your left. 1, 2, ready, go. Half note, half note, and then you can repeat it. Half note. Now I didn't want to spoil the look of the page by having an extra note on it. You can end it with a C at the end of the scale. All right, that's just a great way to finish it off, right? Or you can just stop a note before you end the scale, which is kind of dumb. All right, so take your time. Again, we're just working on that piston stroke all the way through this. We're working on the sound quality of hitting right in the center of the bar, making sure that we're not using too much velocity and force so it doesn't actually hurt the bar and make a bad sound. So practicing this exercise, you can do this at home while you're watching TV, getting very used to that feel of what it feels like to change the arc of the stroke, to make sure that the point of the downward part of the arc is not into my hand or into the bar. All right, so take your time, work through that, play that along with the snare drum every single day. All right, 4 minutes on snare drum for your daily drill, 4 minutes on keyboard. You can do it every other day, but 4 minutes is not that long of a period of time. So practice that at least for a week or so before you move on to level number 3.